Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Rigging on Monday with the Coach here at Big Bite Baits. We're glad to have everybody back with us today. I got my man Brandon and my man Patrick with me today, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of our new clothing, and I'm going to give you a little rundown on a little fishing trip I took several weeks ago and tell you a little bit about it. But first, before we get that, Brandon, let's talk about the new clothing we got here at Big Bite. We've got actually two new hooded sun shirts. We've got a black one with a red fish on the front of it. As you can see, the fish goes all the way around to the back. Pretty neat looking deal. It's got the hood on it. We have this new sun shirt, and then we have a splash sun shirt, which is kind of what I call kind of a blue and gray camo looking sun shirt. It's got the same markings as the black one does, except it's on the light version of like it's got some blue, gray, and some pale blue. Pretty neat. Now, what are these lists for on the internet?
These are on the internet for $39.99, and they're available already.
They're available right now, and we have them in stock, so you can get them while you can. And then the other thing I wanted to mention that we've got new on the internet, a new piece of clothing, is what I call a splash shirt. It's got the bass jumping out on the front of it. It's something completely new. It's got a splash pattern on the sleeves. It's kind of a light, pale, bluey, gray looking color. Be real cool in the summer months, and it's in a long sleeve, of course. And I believe it's listed for what?
$29.99.
$29.99. So definitely new clothing we've got here available at Big Bite Baits. So something you might want to think about, down the line when you're out shopping, good presents, that kind of thing. So today I just want to talk just a little bit about 2 weeks ago, me and my wife took a trip down to South Texas to Falcon Lake, and we had a blast. Kind of a trip of a lifetime. I had been down there several other times, and we caught a lot of fish while we were down there. Actually, my wife caught our personal best of a 9.3. And we caught several over 8 and a bunch of 7s and 6s and 5. We had just a good time down there with one of our pro staffers and a guide there on the lake, Jimmy Steed. He runs Lake Falcon Guide Service. If you go down that way and want to go fishing and want someone that can definitely put you on fish down there, I highly recommend calling Jimmy. He's excellent on that lake. But anyway, I just want to take a few minutes today and just kind of go over a couple things that we used while we were down there to catch the fish on and just to kind of put the proof in the pudding, as the old saying goes. So the first thing we were doing, we were taking this ghost colored pro swimmer that we make, a 3.8 pro swimmer, and we were putting it on several different types of underspins made by other companies, obviously, because we don't make an underspin here at Big Bite. And we'd fish that very slow along the bottom. And we got lots of bites on that and did real well on that. And, I think you could probably do some other shad type colors and do just as well. But the ghost color would seem to be the one that was working the best down there, okay? The thing that we caught the most fish on was a variety of trick sticks and different ways to use them. We cast them Texas rig, we flipped them, we wacky rigged them. We did all kinds of different things to catch fish on them. And those fish down there really like that watermelon red type color. And they were on it. So I'm just going to show you real quick the watermelon red trick stick and talk a little about the versatility of this bait. As I said just a second ago, you can Texas rig it. You can take it and put it on Carolina rig. You can flip it. You can do all kinds of different crazy deals with it. And one of the ways that we were using it, besides just actually Texas rigging it and fishing it, that type of thing, we would put it on use a wacky rig where you hook it in the middle. Now, what I did want to kind of highlight, we did not use this, but it would work just as well. Here at Big Bite, we do make what we call the wacky stick that has the O-ring infused in it already, so you don't have to put the O-ring on it, and you can fish it. So that's basically something that's kind of interesting. Now, we were actually putting our own O-rings on them down there when we used it, and then, of course, obviously you hook it right in the middle, pull your hook through on your wacky jig, and now you've got the true wacky rig type look. It works real well. And this is our wacky stick. And you can do the same thing with a regular trick stick. You can hook it through the middle the same exact way. It'll work just as good. Really, there's not a whole lot of difference. You can do the same thing. Or you can hook an O-ring on it and hook it through an O-ring, however you'd like to do it. But that seemed to be the bait of choice that those fish were really liking in this style. So something to kind of give you an idea. And that pretty much summed it up as far as where we caught fish. We caught, I think, 60 fish the first day and 80 fish the second day. And then the third day, we was only out there about 4 hours, and we caught, I think, 25 or 30 fish. We had a real good day. It was just a phenomenal trip. But if you have never been down there, I highly recommend going down there. It's a tremendous lake. Obviously, Texas Parks and Recreation are doing lots of things right for sure. But anyway, I wanted to summarize that. So we got questions now. I know you got a whole deck. It looks like a whole sheet of questions over there today to go over. So let's talk about some of them.
Sure, we've got quite a few here today.
Good.
Let's see. 4G Fishing wants to know, do you prefer black and blue or like a green pumpkin style bait?
If the water is kind of stained up, I'll do the black and blue. If the water is, unstained or really not totally clear, but just what I call a good fishing color, I like a green pumpkin variant.
Okay. Let's see. Mike Rutland Fishing. He wants to know, will you keep making the Real Deal Crawl and Hematoma?
Well, I got bad news for you, Mike. We're fixing to discontinue that Real Deal Crawl. They'll probably be going on sale here shortly to clear out our stock, and then we won't be making that product any longer. So that's something that'll start after ICAST this year. We've got some other products that are going to move into its place. So if you really like that bait, I would definitely recommend stocking up between now and then.
Absolutely. Okay, John_Karcher wants to know, what is our top selling bait?
John, the top selling bait here is the Trick Stick. Actually, it has been for many years. It sells really well. But we have some other ones that are knocking on the door. Our pro swimmers are selling real well. Obviously, the Fighting Frog sells real well. Just to give you a couple other, options of different styles of bait, but that Trick Stick's hard to beat.
Absolutely. Let's see. Cole_Kev wants to know, what is the best crawl for a swim jig?
I'm kind of partial to that new kamikaze crawl. If you like something that's busy, it's got a lot of action behind that bait, it kicks like crazy. We were talking about that the other day, me and Brandon were. I had a buddy who was out fishing on the lake, and he was throwing a kamikaze crawl, and he said he actually could feel it through his rod kicking, and he ran out, and he had to go to our swimming crawl, and he said he couldn't feel that bait kicking quite as hard, even though it kicks. So I think that bait is designed to really kick, and if you like that action behind your bait or that flapping look, I highly recommend using the kamikaze crawl.
Okay. Let's see. I think this one will be one that you might want to elaborate on a little bit.
Okay.
The Fishing Hawaiian asked, is there scent in our baits?
Well, that might be one of those things where I can't tell you everything, but we do infuse all our baits with bite juice. And bite juice is a conglomerate of a lot of different scents like anise and shad flavors and crawfish flavors. And we put it all together, mix it up into a big batch, and we do two things with it. Actually, we infuse it into baits when we make them. It's put into the drum before they ever pour the bait. So it's in that bait, even though you might not think it is. And then they usually dip a little bit in the bag. When they bag our bait, they'll put a drop in every bag. So you kind of get a double dose of the scent. So, yes, definitely bite juice. And on that topic, well, I might as well throw a new pitch in for a bait we've got coming out. We've got a whole new line coming out at ICAST called Sensation. And that's our new, what we call stink bait. And that's the only way I know to describe it to you. Brandon's laughing over here, but I can promise you, you can open it on one end of the room and be sitting on the other end of the room and you can smell it. It's powerful. I think he'll agree with that. Anyway, so be looking for that here shortly, the new Sensation line.
Absolutely. I know a lot of our pros have really had good success testing that.
With it. That's right.
So.
They've been raving about it, actually.
Yes. Let's see. Matt_R-Lax wants to know, what is the best buzzbait trailer?
Well, that's a good question. I don't really own a true buzz bait. I normally don't fish a trailer, but now if you want to do like a frog type buzz bait, that buzz and toad we make works really well. I haven't had the opportunity to try the skipper toad because I don't do a lot of docks fishing, but I know like in grass and that type of thing, our buzz toad is deadly. My favorite color, of course, obviously most people like the black and the white, but I'm also kind of partial to the one we call watermelon red ghost. It seems to work real well too. So that'd give you three choices to try. And the nice thing about that is it's got different color blades on it, so you can kind of match it to what you like. That's to me that's kind of important. Definitely.
Sure.
So.
All right, let's see. One more here. Skunk Spotties wants to know, when you're fishing a Texas rig, do you like to fish it pegged or unpegged?
Depending on how I'm fishing it. If I'm fishing in deeper water, I don't peg it. If I'm fishing it like I'm flipping it along the grass line on the bank maybe, tight cover around blowdowns, that type of thing, I like to peg it. So depending on what type of attack mode you're in, whether you're deep or shallow, or whether you're fishing grass or fishing wood, or you're out, say, on a hump or a ledge, depends on how I rig it. But that's basically how I rig it. So definitely you can do both ways with it.
Okay. And you got any baits you might want to throw in there on that just to piggyback off it?
Well, on that Texas rig, depending if I'm up shallow, you know what I'm throwing. My old favorite fighting frog. If I'm out there deep, I'm probably throwing either a big 10-inch worm, the B2 worm. That's the ones I kind of like. So definitely that time of year, that time of space. Summer months, big worm. Spring of the year, fighting frog, and hoping for bites. And this trick stick right here is also a good answer for shallow water. So definitely some things to think about. Well, I think that winds us up for today. We're looking forward to next week, and we'll see y'all and talk more about, give you some ideas on some new things that's coming out each week for iCast and some things like that and that type of thing. So we'll look forward to seeing everyone here next week at 4:30 on Monday.